Hello everybody, I'm Iain and I feel a rant coming on, right? I want to talk to you about training matrices, okay? For those that don't get it, if you get this, if you understand the training matrix, well done you. You're training in a practical and effective way. Share this video with someone who just doesn't get it, because it seems there are a lot of people out there. The fact is, whenever we train, it's realistic, is the best we can hope for. It's never real. It's never real. It's realistic. That is the best we can get. And because it's never real, there will be compromises being made in order to ensure training efficiency, to develop specific skills and safety. We're always making compromises somewhere, which means every single method that we do, every single way of training that we do has a fault. All of them do, because none of them are real. The best we can hope for is realistic. Now, what we should do is we identify the fault with a given form of training and go, right, this particular training method is good for this. But the compromise we're making for training efficiency, for safety, to isolate a specific skill, there's a problem there with this type of training. It's good for one thing, but the fault with it is this. We then do is, all right, let's use this other form of training, which doesn't have the same fault, but it will automatically have its own. So let's give some examples, some things I've heard this week, which have inspired this video, right? You shouldn't hit pads because in a real situation, because pads don't fight back, okay? That's the point. Well, okay, you should spar instead, right? That's a stupid statement because firstly, it's a statement of the obvious. Of course pads don't hit back because they're pads, right? You hit the pad with power, and the aim of that is I can hit it with full force and full aggression. I can't do that with a training partner because they would get badly hurt. So what I then do is I go to the training partner and go, right, I know I can hit hard because I've worked the pads for that. And now I want to spar with you to develop the aliveness and the skill to get my hand to the target. Put those two things together and I can get the hand to the target and I can hit with force. Because another thing I heard this week is you shouldn't spar. You shouldn't spar. The reason you shouldn't spar is because you have to put safety equipment on and there's a compromise been made there, or you have to pull your blows and You're right. All of these things are true, but you need the aliveness in training. Without the aliveness, you can't expect to apply skills in a live environment. You just can't. So what we need to be careful of we're doing, are you listening, internet? Because I'm talking to you. What we need to be careful that we do is we don't choose or look at a specific training method in isolation, pick the fault with it, and then choose to reject it. It's always part of the matrix. That's the point. So you should do your pad work. You should. Kata, let's look at kata, okay? I'm a traditional martial artist. I love kata. One of the things you could say about kata is, well, there's no partner there. That's obviously a big fault with it as a training method. You're right. That is a big fault with it. But the big pluses are I can do it when there's not a training partner there. It also means that when I do the kata, if I do it right, when I'm visualizing the technique, I can do it with full force and intent, which I can't do with a training partner. I can't do a violent neck crank at full speed with a training partner. I would badly hurt them. So the fault is when I train with a partner, I'm always practicing a technique that's designed to hurt people in a way that doesn't hurt them. There's a fault there. So when I come to do the kata, right, I can go, there's no person here to hurt. So I can do it full force, and the combination of that visualization and the movement being done full force, right, with the fault of there not being a partner there, combine that with a partner being there, but I have to slow down the technique and I have to do it in such a way that doesn't hurt him. The two faults cancel each other out. Right? When you're doing it as part of as a specific training matrix. So for example, right, no one would look at a boxer, right? Got the boxers hitting a punch bag in a gym. No one looks at that and goes, shouldn't hit bags. You don't fight bags in the ring. Of course you don't fight a bag in the ring. The point is the bag develops a specific skill set. The boxer then, the pro boxer, will then get in the ring and he will spar. Most boxers don't spar full contact because they'll get injured and it reduces the longevity of the career and they could get injured and that will reduce the payday. Most full contact fighters in training spar light, but they hit the pads in order to develop the impact and in order to develop the power. There's always the training matrix. Training can be realistic, but it's never real. And it's the way all of these things combine. What we should not do is look at one isolated form of training and then reject it. So another one I heard this week, flow drills. Shouldn't do flow drills. right? Because flow drills require like a set routine, and therefore there's no aliveness to them. Absolutely true. That's absolutely true. But that's not what a flow drill's for. A flow drill is to say, let's practice this specific flow of techniques in a time-efficient way to get lots done, and we can practice moving from one technique to another method. Of course, if that's all you do, there's a problem. But you can say, okay, now what we do is we take those skills we've developed from the flow drills and we do them in live training too, in live practice. And then when we do them in live practice, that's when we get the unpredictability and the aliveness. If you look at any single method on its own, right? Even sparring, even live practice. If you put gloves on, it's no longer realistic. If you've got mats down, it's no longer realistic. If you're using any form of control, it's no longer realistic. You know, there's always faults in there. The trick is, all martial arts you do is go, this is what the fault is, and I'm going to correct it by doing this other form of training, okay? So if you're one of these people that likes to look at specific individual examples and go, oh, there's a fault with this, because you understand that your point is both stupid and it's vacuous. It's not adding anything to the discussion. What you need to be able to do is say, okay, how does this fit in within the training matrix, and does it do so efficiently? You can never look at individual training methods and go, oh, you know, this wouldn't work because there's always a fault there. That should be a given. Well, I feel so much better for getting this off my chest. I know that 99.9% of people listening to this get this, but it seems there are some people out there who don't, right? So what we need to make sure we do, the people who understand how training works and the limitations of training, we need to make sure we make the argument that yes, there's faults with every form of training we do, but we correct that as part of a training matrix, okay? Okay, take care everybody, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye now.